The first is an article by John Carlson. He wrote, "The mortally wounded soldiers had a single request in his last moments of life. Make sure they bury me in a coffin," he pleaded with the Army nurse. Lying in a bare grave with no coffin brought more fear to the man than death itself. The nurse, wearing the dress made of bed ticking and a straw hat, had but a single dollar in her pocket. With it, she bought a few scraps of lumber so that the soldier could be buried in a box. When she saw that his body was being carted off in a wagon, despite her instructions, she made them stop and place him in a box. In another story, the Friday before President Lincoln was assassinated, he visited the camp where Aunt Becky was dressing wounds. When Lincoln entered the tent, he asked if anyone there was wounded. Aunt Becky was always an advocate and spoke to the young soldier she was attending. He was a 17-year-old boy who had lost both arms and both legs. She wanted him to tell the visitor, Lincoln, how he was, and the soldier replied, "Mr. Lincoln, I will never hug a sweetheart or kick a mother-in-law." Aunt Becky always encouraged veterans to advocate for themselves, but when they could not, she would. The third story, when she found out that some of the paymasters had been handing out counterfeit money to the soldiers and pocketing the good money, she went straight to General Grant. This exposed the fraud, and the next day, Grant discharged some of the paymasters and installed new ones. There's countless other examples of Aunt Becky's inspiration and devotion. In 2008, 100 years after her death, local members of the Sons of Union Veterans of the Civil War, Dodge Camp number 75, set out to see that the Armed Forces of the United States formally recognized her. Research and documentation was submitted, and a veteran's stone was granted and installed. Members of the Iowa Society of the War of 1812 repaired and restored the flagpole you see here today. A ceremony was held on Veterans Day, 11 November 2009. Over 200 people and descendants attended. Her greatest legacy was not only her compassion shown over a lifetime, but also her continuing example of what a difference one person can make.